when we give this to our students, and we're like, okay, because we'll have.
Now, my wife, I just broke down. I said,
hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the show, Who Are You? I am your host, Dr. Leah. It is Friday. It is rainy, but it is all good because it is the end of the week. So today we are in New York. We are glad that we can be there virtually. Thank God to technology, and we hope that the technology keeps us long enough that we can be able to continue to interact. Today, our guest is Michael Collins. He has been a leading or lending and real estate industry for 25 years. He has done almost everything. He was a president. He was a partner of a mortgage company for 16 years. He worked on Wall Street and has been a real estate investor for 20 years. He has been a consultant, investor in numerous industries. He's worked in transportation technology in Las Vegas to high-end health club in New York. So currently he's a partner in a fix and flip and health club. So that's something that we will be looking into because it's very interesting that we have these small projects and they can be funded and nationwide in the US. So at least many people will be knowing how they could be able to partner with him and get to know and understand how they can be able also to impact by being impacted with what is happening in their community. He is a certified life coach by the Tony Robbins Organization, and for the past half decade, he has worked with Trevor McGregor, who is an international recognized success coach. So definitely Michael is at the top of the game. He is also a successful coach for a very, very long time, and we are going to learn more from him. So without further ado, I will just bring him up. Hello, Michael.
Hello. Wow. Thank you very much. That was a great introduction.
Thank you. You've done quite a lot.
Well, if you live long enough, you do a lot of things, right? And I'm very excited. I'm honored to be a guest on the show, and I'm excited to tell my story.
Thank you so much. And you will definitely, before the show ends, you will define for us what is living long enough, because some of us have a different definition of living long enough.
Okay.
By that time, we will definitely have done past what you have done. So thank you so much for showing up to our show, Who Are You? Thank you so much that you're going to share your story with us. So without further ado, I'll give the mic back to you. Please tell us who you are.
Yeah, so as I said, you did a great job with my introduction. The way I like to represent myself is that I'm a lifelong entrepreneur, and I happen to fall into different industries and different businesses. I come to my passion very honestly because I was born into a family of entrepreneurs. Both of my grandparents owned their own business. The one grandfather was a plumber and a real estate investor. And it's kind of a neat story because I have, including my dad, I had 6 aunts and uncles. And my grandfather was able to buy them or help them all buy their own home within a couple block radius of his house, because he, as a plumber in town, he would work on various houses and he would see houses that were in disrepair or where the owner may need to sell, whatever the case may be. So, he was always doing that. That gave my dad the passion for real estate investing, and he gave that passion to me. So, I was born into it, as I said. And then my other grandfather was very much an entrepreneur and businessman. He came over from Ireland and owned grocery stores and liquor stores and bars. And I actually grew up most of my high school and college years I spent working in his liquor store and bar. And it's interesting, there's an old saying that says if you want to learn about human nature, to either tend bar or drive a cab. So I spent a lot of time learning about human nature, tending bar. So it was quite an education. You learn about people. Um, so and then so I had that ingrained in me. I mean, I was born to it, and I really loved it. And I really enjoyed it. It was, what great role models, because it wasn't the typical 9 to 5 corporate grind. I had the opportunity to see, my grandparents and my parents be very entrepreneurial and very aggressive and very creative with what they did with their life, and it was a great pattern for me. Tony Robbins says that success leaves clues, and I had a lot of clues along the way, right? I had a lot of examples and a lot of clues. So I did end up going to corporate America, and then shortly after, about 10 years after working in corporate America and working on Wall Street, I had that passion again to be self-employed, and I did open my own mortgage company. There's a little bit more to that story that I'll get into a little bit later, because it is leading to a new venture that I'm starting to get involved in that I'd like to share with your viewers. But so I had my own mortgage company for 20 years, myself and a partner, and that was wonderful to be my own boss and be able to lend homeowners and home buyers money to buy their home and have their dream home and dream house, etc. And one of the neat things that came out of that experience is I always had college interns working for me. So I mentored a lot of college interns, and 2 of them, I'm proud to say, as you mentioned in the introduction, I'm now business partners with. One is with the Health Club in New York, and the other is with the Transportation Technology Company in Las Vegas. And I'm still involved with these guys. They're both men. 20 years later, after they were my interns in college working for me while I own the mortgage company. So that's very gratifying, to have that kind of a relationship on a long-term basis and to be involved in such varied businesses. The transportation company is kind of neat because we are currently in the process of fulfilling rides for Uber and Lyft, high-end limo rides for Uber and Lyft in Las Vegas, up and down the strip and to the airport. And so needless to say, we're all very excited to see things open up again and to see people starting to come to Vegas again, because we believe that there's an exciting opportunity there. So that's kind of neat. It keeps me busy, keeps me very diversified. And because of those interns and because of the mentoring I did, I realized that I had a passion for coaching. And what I did is I sold my mortgage company after 20 years. And that was about 10 years ago. So I was in my early 50s, and I'm sitting there saying, okay, well, what do I do now? And I decided to go to the Tony Robbins Unleash the Power Within weekend. I walked on the hot coals and spent the weekend. And then, as some of your viewers may know this, you're able to participate in some coaching sessions as part of that weekend. And I took advantage of that and developed a relationship with a coach who I still work with today, Trevor McGregor. And, after a couple of years of Trevor coaching me, he said, he goes, you should be a coach. I mean, you've been coaching people your whole life. He goes, why don't you just, make it official and hang a shingle and be a coach? So that's what I'm really excited about right now. I do have the lending business, and I do fund, as you mentioned, fix and flippers nationwide. We fund the acquisition monies for the purchase, and then we fund the rehab monies. And then we can also fund the long-term loan if they would like to keep the property as a rental property. So I still do that. But my passion is really becoming the coaching, because I like to call myself a high performance and business strategy coach, because I like to work with, just like my background is small business entrepreneurship, I love working with entrepreneurs, and I love helping them solve problems. There are 5 main reasons why people don't scale their business. And if you'd like, I'd like to share those with you. Tony Robbins says 80% of success is mental and 20% is execution. So, we have a lot of mental barriers that stop us from being successful. And, there's 5 of them. The first is limiting beliefs. And limiting beliefs are those gremlins in your heads that kind of tell you that you can or can't do something. Our imagination runs wild. Dr. Joe Dispenza, who some of your viewers may know, is a very, very popular speaker, author, and coach. He says that on a daily basis, human beings have 60,000 to 80,000 thoughts per day, and 75% of them are negative. So our DNA is almost wired to undermine our efforts and to undermine our goals and objectives. So you really kind of have to reprogram yourself. You have to fight off those gremlins and really get belief that you can do it. And what I tell my clients is, when you're starting to question something, when you think the economy is a certain way, or when you think there's outside forces that are impacting you a certain way, you have to ask yourself the question, is that really true? It's really important to see things as they are, not as you imagine them to be, because your imagination will take you all over the place. So that's the first thing, is limiting beliefs. The second barrier I see is a lack of goal setting and goal achievement. It may interest you to know that people spend more time planning their vacation than they plan how to be successful in business. So, there's that old saying. Yeah, there's that old saying: if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? I mean, so you need to plan, and you need to really think about how you want to be successful. And then that leads us to the third reason people don't scale their business or their success, is a lack of systems for support. We all need support. It's very, very difficult to do it by yourself. I mean, you're offering support here with words of encouragement and people sharing their stories, and it helps people know that, hey, if he can do that, I can do that, right? You need that encouragement, and you need that support. And then number 4 is a lack of time management, or poor time management. There's studies that say in North America, people are productive only 3.5 hours out of an 8-hour day. But frankly, I don't think it's a lack of time management. I think it's a lack of poor prioritization of time. Exactly. How are you spending your time? I use a productivity pyramid in my coaching, where we designate time by color. So we designate activities by color. And, I ask my clients, are you doing green activities, or are you doing brown activities? Because green activities are going to make you money. Brown activities are going to pull you away from that. So just to kind of refocus your thoughts as to where you're spending your time is very important, And then the 5th reason that people don't always meet their goals is a lack of accountability. I like to tell the story that when I first, I'm very happily married to my wife, and I like to tell a story that when I first started working with my coach, my wife says, well, you don't need a coach. You have me. You can talk to me, Well, I don't know how many people are married, but I think I get about 5 minutes of her attention, and then the phone goes off, or the kids call, or the dogs bark, or the doorbell rings. And, it's just tough to get 45 or 60 minutes of unbiased attention from a spouse. Exactly. The other challenge is you're not getting unbiased attention. You're not getting unbiased feedback. They love you. They don't want to hurt your feelings, right?
Yeah.
My coach kicks me in the butt all the time. He tells me, he calls me out, and he'll tell me, you're BS, you're full of BS. You're not doing what you should be doing. So that's good. It's good to have that accountability. And I find, whoever you get, it doesn't necessarily have to be a coach. It could be a mastermind group, which I'd like to talk about in a couple minutes. But you need some source of accountability. You don't play sports without a coach holding you accountable. And I don't think you can play effectively in the game of life without someone holding you accountable. So I would encourage, your listeners, if they get anything out of this, to recognize that they need an accountability partner to really push them and help them achieve their goals and their objectives, and to achieve the happiness they want to achieve, right? My relationship with my coach, the 2 benefits I get out of that is, number 1, I get that unbiased attention once a week for 45 minutes. It's like going into a confessional. I can tell him anything I want. It's a client privilege there. I know it's confidential. And then I do get that feedback, and I do get that accountability. So it's very, very
Mm.
powerful.
Mm.
So that's the passion I have, is supporting people, supporting small business people, holding them accountable, and seeing if I can help them achieve their goals and objectives. And towards that end, I'd like to share with you kind of a new concept I'm coming up with. I call it the 300-pound gorilla mastermind group. So you may say, why a 300-pound gorilla? Well, just about 30 years ago, when I decided to leave corporate America and open my own mortgage company, I took the plunge. I was finally going to be self-employed. I'd grown up in an entrepreneurial family, and now I was making that move. And I was working for a very big financial institution that was on the verge of collapse. That, back then, all the banks were going under, and they were having a lot of problems. So I also saw my move to become self-employed as self-preservation, because I didn't want to be there if they failed. I wanted to be out on my own. Well, within a week of leaving, this big bank sued me and my partners. And the attitude, the suit had no merit whatsoever, but their intent was that they had deeper pockets than us, and they would just grind us down and force us out of business, because we wouldn't be able to afford the legal fees to defend ourselves. But what's interesting is the local paper caught wind of it and wrote an article. And in the article, the reporter said, the question says, where does a 300-pound gorilla sit? And the answer was on top of Michael Collins. So I thought that was kind of neat. I thought about that. And, just to continue to finish the story, we persevered. We won the suit. There was no merit to the suit. The suit went on for 2 years. It cost us a significant amount of money. Unfortunately, that's the way our court systems work. But we got through it, and I'm happy to say that we not only persevered and survived, but we succeeded. We were very, very successful, and we had a very strong run until I ultimately sold that business. But so I'm thinking, I've put together a 300-pound gorilla mastermind group, because we all have 300-pound gorillas that we deal with in life and business. In various aspects of our life, there's always a challenge. There's always that gorilla sitting on top of us. So one of the things I'm excited about is putting together groups of small business people who are dealing with challenges, or perhaps need some support or some feedback from other small business people, and have them be part of a mastermind group where we can share ideas and share stories and support and help each other. So I'm really, really excited about that. And I think it's a natural extension of my mentoring and my interns and my relationship with all of them. So that's where I am today. I do coach, as you said. I have a number of clients, small business people, salespeople, real estate agents, mortgage people that I coach and I assist, and I support them in some of the mental barriers that we talked about, and some of the blocks that we talked about, and just helping them go through the educational process of learning about those things and making them aware of it has a very, very significant impact on them, because they never thought about it. Back to the limiting beliefs. If you think about it, if you think that, when I talk to realtors, I tell them there's basically 6 reasons why there are real estate transactions in any economic environment. Those reasons are people get married, people get divorced, babies are born, unfortunately, people die, people have a change in circumstance, they move into maybe an assisted living facility, and then there's real estate investors who make a living out of being real estate investors. So regardless of interest rates, regardless of the economic environment, people are, 50% of the people in the United States get divorced. Well, when they get divorced and they own a house, something's going to happen to that house. One is going to refinance and buy out the other, or they're going to sell it, or something has to happen to that house. So there's always real estate transactions. So what I try to tell my clients is, you may think the real estate market is slow, and we know it's cyclical. It's going to get slow again. We know that's going to happen. And when that happens, you may think, oh, nobody's buying houses, I can't do any transactions. Well, that's not true, because there's these 6 reasons that people are always buying houses. So it's an educational process as well as support. And, knowledge is power. And I'm a big believer in empowering people with knowledge and educating people with information. So,
Wow.
yeah, so that's where I'm at now. I'm excited about my mastermind group. It's a brand new thing that I'm starting, and I'm going to start offering up to some of my clients and other people if they want to be part of a small business entrepreneurial mastermind group where we support each other, and we take on those 300-pound gorillas, right? And
Right.
you know, and persevere and push through. So,
Awesome.
so
Awesome.
that's who I am.
That's quite a journey and very, very interesting and powerful story behind it, because, many people always, they jump into business maybe because, they just wanted to get out of the lot of being from 9 to 5 jobs where you have to work tirelessly, you don't have time with your family, you don't have time with your friends. And here you are, it is something that you grew up in, you were born into, and from the whole story to me, you grew up with it and you had a passion with it because you had role models showing you how it is interesting and how you can gain passion for it and you can enjoy time and you can also enjoy to be a blessing to many. We have Richard Schneider, who is watching from a very beautiful town here in Germany. It's a winery town called Krog. Thank you, Richard. He's very, very enjoying the discussion. We have Violet Ongaria. She's watching from Munich. She's very, she's enjoying the discussion. She said our business mind will indeed change through this platform, and this is indeed why I try to achieve people of different walks of life so that people can be encouraged to come out of those comfort zone and realize that sometimes we think what we do is what's best for us, but actually the best is still out there. So we are going to take a short break, and when we come back, we will be hearing from Michael, the struggles that he faced through all these industries that he's been working, and the advices that he will be giving us on how best we can capitalize on our time now, especially in lockdown, and how best we can begin to implement and really be persistent and, look for those accountability and, coaches who will be able to work with us, because it's not just about them doing things for you. It is about you being assisted to implement that which you have planned for your life. So stay right there. We will be back in a minute. Hello once again. Welcome back to the show. Who are you? I am your host, Dr. Leah, and our guest today is Michael. And Michael has really given us a very powerful story behind his success. He has been able to speak to us how he has mentored a lot of people through his journey. And the people he has mentored have come back, and now they are even his current partners that he's working with. What a wonderful story. Michael, we know that nothing comes very easy, and we have seen all the obstacles that people can face throughout lifetime when they're still projecting or procrastinating in their own small box. Talk to us, what were the probably 3 or 4 things that you'd say were obstacles for you through your journey as you were growing through into the entrepreneurship?
Oh gosh, 2 or 3 things. I mean, there's always obstacles. Nothing is easy. I guess I'd rather answer that from the viewpoint as to how I was able to overcome whatever those obstacles were.
Very well.
You said something about you mentioned procrastination. Procrastination is a powerful word, because it really stops us from moving forward, right? But why do people procrastinate? People will procrastinate if they're expected, if they have to do things they don't enjoy doing. So from that aspect, I take two approaches to that. Anyone listening to your show or viewing your show, they're obviously high achievers. They want to accomplish certain things. So they know that in order to be successful, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. One of the things I didn't mention earlier is I'm a big student of comfort zones. No growth occurs within your comfort zone. You really have to push yourself. And I could spend another half hour telling you various ways I pushed myself out of my comfort zone, from taking a Dale Carnegie course when I was deathly afraid of public speaking to working with a coach and a public speaker whose approach towards breaking through your comfort zone was to go skydiving. So I went skydiving with him. Talk about breaking through your comfort zones, right? And the process of breaking through those comfort zones, what it does is it makes you more confident, and it makes you more sure of yourself, right? So, the one thing I would say is you have to be comfortable. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because otherwise you will never grow and you'll never take those risks. You'll never take the steps that you need to take. And then the other thing I would say is passion. You have to have passion. If you don't have enthusiasm or passion for what you're doing, then you might as well just stamp a time card and put in your 8 hours and go home. I think it's a passion that drives entrepreneurs. I loved being in charge of my own destiny, because I found out very early on. I'll never forget one of the reviews I had working for this big financial organization. My supervisor, who was a very nice guy, he gave me my annual review, and he says, I have to tell you, he goes, and I'm not saying this as a friend, I'm saying this sincerely as your boss, I've never given a review as good as yours. I said, wow, thank you very much. He goes, yeah. He goes, your raise this year is 2%. So, he goes, we have budget constraints. So this is the best review I've ever given, but I can only give you a 2% raise. And if I had any questions prior to that as to whether or not I wanted to be self-employed and determine my own destiny, that solidified it. Because you know what? I worked my rear end off. I delivered really quality performance to that organization, and my raise was 2% raise. So I realized that I had a passion for being my own boss, for, as I said, being in charge of my own destiny, being in charge of my own income. As an entrepreneur, if you want to make more money, you just work hard, right? And you can determine how hard you want to work. But I had a passion for that, obviously. And it didn't really matter what business I got into. I enjoyed the game of business. When I owned my mortgage company, people would say to me, define who you are. And I would say, well, I'm an entrepreneur who just happens to own a mortgage company. Doesn't matter what business it would be, because I was in the mortgage company. I had a real estate company. I'm in a health club, and I'm in a transportation technology company. You couldn't have four more different companies than that. And I'm a coach. So you couldn't have 5 more different companies than that, or businesses than that. But what they all have in common is their entrepreneurial activities. And I'm in control of those. And that's what I love about it. So, when you ask me what were my barriers, I don't really see things as barriers. I just keep plowing through. I just, okay, I got sued. Well, let's deal with it. How do we deal with it, and how do we move on? I've had businesses fail. I've sold businesses. I've had businesses go bankrupt. I'm not, not all my stories are success stories. But you know what? We learn probably more from our failures than we do from our successes, right? Because those are the ones that hurt, and you take those to heart, probably more than you do your successes. So again, be comfortable, get comfortable being uncomfortable, and figure out what your passion is. And I would say those are the 2 keys. And go skydiving if you want to get out of your comfort zone. That'll do it for you.
I think for me, not even, I don't even need to go that far with skydiving. I just need to go to the tallest building and look down, and then I
Yeah,
realize, okay,
yeah, there you
now
go.
I am completely.
Yeah, yeah. Well, funny story. Shortly after I went skydiving, I actually bungee jumped. Now I was much younger. I was in my 30s. I bungee jumped out of a hot air balloon, but
Wow.
that had nothing to do with comfort zones. That had more to do with a girlfriend. So I'll leave it up to that.
Awesome, what they don't get you to do. So, and
Yeah.
through your story, you've told us, and I know it's a triumph, because just knowing that you had mentees that you mentored, and then through the journey they come back, they become your business partners.
Mhm.
Tell us another triumph that you saw it from. I always call them being babies, and now they've matured. And you look and you realize this is what passion is all about. This is what I always look forward to, wake up and see that, something was this small and now it has become big. And you can see, those fruits coming out very
Mhm.
well and very exciting and very juicy.
Yeah, so I have three kids, and they all know that I'm into Tony Robbins and Dale Carnegie, and I'm always sending them quotes, and I'm always, trying to coach them, and I get the eyes roll, and they're like, oh, here he goes again, type of thing. But it's kind of neat when I hear them later maybe say something I said to them, so they're listening. They may roll their eyes at me and they may kind of push me away, but they're listening, and that's incredibly gratifying, to know that I've got three kids who I think I had a pretty strong impression on, just like my parents had on me, right? I mean, my grandparents had on me. I think I had a big impression on my three kids. One's a fireman and has a successful side business. The other works for UCLA Medical Centers in Los Angeles. And my youngest is an aspiring musician, so they've all got very, very different vocations and different passions, but they're pursuing their passions, and that's wonderful. If they learn nothing from me, they learn to pursue their passions. And my wife is good because she never babied them. She always made them be tough and stand up for themselves and realize that life's not easy and things aren't handed to you on a platter. You have to kind of work for things, and that so that lends itself to that. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. That life's not always going to be sugar plums and roses, or whatever you want to say, right? That there's difficulties in life. So I get a lot of satisfaction seeing how my kids have grown. They're all adults. My youngest is 20, so I get to see them as basically adults, and there's a lot of satisfaction out of seeing how they've developed and how they've grown. And again, as much as they may laugh at me and roll their eyes at my coaching quotes and everything, they're paying attention. I know they're paying attention, so that's good.
That's awesome.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, that's
Okay.
awesome. I mean, because it's many a times, and just like you said, you have three faces. You've mentored outside and you've mentored inside. So it's more of, you see from the outside the results, and from the inside as well. And I'm very sure, even your folks, when they see you, they see what a success they have in their life, because they see you learned something and now you've taught it to your children, and you've even taught it to the outside world, where people are also gaining this knowledge, gaining this wisdom, and growing with it. And that is such a beautiful thing that you're doing there. And so thank you very much for sharing with us. I just have one last question for you. The 300-pound Gorilla Mastermind Group, will it be an open group for many, or will it be for certain specifics?
I'm going to keep it to 5 members, but I am willing to do multiple groups. So I could have multiple groups of 5 members. I find that 5 members is great because one of the aspects of the group is that on one call or one meeting, one person gets to be in the hot seat for 40 minutes. These are 60-minute calls. So for 40 minutes, each member will have an opportunity to be on the hot seat and really share something that's really important to them that the whole group can kind of dive into and support them with. And I think if we try to make the mastermind group too big, studies have shown that 5 is kind of the ideal number. So, I mean, if I get 20 people that are interested in being in the group, then I'll just have 4 groups, right? I mean, I would be willing to do that, absolutely. So yeah, I want to keep it small and intimate so that we develop a relationship and the support and the encouragement is really there. And I'm in a number of mastermind groups myself now, and it's amazing what comes out of those. I don't know if you're in any, but it's amazing the information that comes out of them, things I never would know otherwise. I learned from the members of my mastermind group. So it's pretty powerful. I mean, Napoleon Hill said that mastermind groups are the most powerful entity in the world, right? I mean, they're incredibly powerful. So.
Awesome, awesome. So thank you very much. Maybe you could share with us how people can get in touch with you and, you know, where they can go and look up the mastermind, because I believe it's a powerful tool and it will really, really help a lot of people, especially, you know, those who are looking to find platforms where they can learn from. And even as you have said, you know, that you've learned a lot from the mastermind groups that you have joined and you've grown also with them. So just share with us how people can get in touch with you.
Yeah, so my website is michaelcollinscoaching.com. Very simple, just my name, coaching.com. My phone number is 732-620-8541. My email address is coach@michaelcollinscoaching.com. I do not have a website yet for the mastermind group, as that is just part of my coaching practice. So if anybody's interested in the mastermind group, just reach out to me, and I'm in the process of putting those together now. So.
Great, great. So thank you so much, Michael. It was a pleasure meeting you. It was a pleasure having you on this platform. Who are you? And we have gathered a lot of insight and a lot of skills and nuggets that we are going to carry with us. And thank you again. And I wish you a blessed day. And to our viewers, thank you very much for being proactive with us. Thank you very much that you enjoyed the show. We are so glad that you were able to get some nuggets and to get some points that you could use. And we are looking forward to be seeing you in Michael's mastermind group. Get a hold of him, get to learn a lot, see how you can benefit in all the different projects that he's doing out there, because at the end of the day is how and who you network with, who you collaborate with. It is who is you're sitting with that will either show your growth or your scarcity. So thank you very much. Until next week with our new guest, I say goodbye, stay safe, and be healthy.
Thank you.